there's obviously, if there's a company in Mexico that has been selling a lot of products to America, maybe that country goes bankrupt. And so for the person that owns that company, it could be a bad thing. But net, overall, for the whole, everybody else, it's a net benefit.
Okay. Second part, if you have a minute, is what is going forward, your outlook on housing in the U.S. and the New York metro region, given especially that Wall Street is thinning out?
You can answer that. Yeah, you don't even need me to answer that. It's dire. Housing is going to collapse. Housing prices in this country are going to be at the lowest they've ever been in history, including the Great Depression. You'll be able to buy a house cheaper. The average house in America is going to be cheaper than it was at the height of the Great Depression if you're going to buy it in gold. All right? Now, if you're going to pay for it in dollars, obviously that's not the case because the dollar is going to be practically worthless. But the real value of American real estate is going to collapse. It's going to completely collapse because our country is going to be broke. We're going to be a bunch of unemployed paupers, right? And so we're not going to be able to afford to spend a lot of money buying homes, right? And that's the reality. How much is real estate worth in a poor country? It's not worth that much, right? That's where we're going. So there's no reason. The only reason to own U.S. real estate is to take on debt. Because that debt will be wiped out. That's it. It's not to buy the real estate. It's to get it for free because you screw the person who loaned you the money. Now, you know who's loaning you the money? It's probably the Federal Reserve because nobody in their right mind would give an American a mortgage to buy a house when they know they're going to get screwed with inflation. So the only reason that you can borrow money right now is because the Federal Reserve is buying that mortgage. Right? It's either Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or the Fed. They're buying it. And it's going to create massive inflation. And we're a broke country. Because remember, we're not even going to be a capitalist country anymore. We are a socialist country. We are a essential command economy. The government is taking over industry. We have an industrial policy. We're going to have these plans. The government is running the economy now. They are going to try to determine what is produced, who produces it. They're going to allocate resources because President Obama, they don't believe capitalism works. They think that that's why we're in trouble. They think that they can bring the best brains from Harvard and Wall Street up to Pennsylvania Avenue, up to the Capitol, and they're going to figure out how to run the economy. And as their policies make it worse, the only conclusion that they can come to is, capitalism is even worse than we thought. We need even more government. We need to take control of more industries. We need to set policy in Washington. We need to determine who works for what company, what gets made, what doesn't get made, and the whole country is going to be one giant post office. We are in serious, serious trouble. And I'm not just, talking, this is a real, real problem. This is real financial and economic Armageddon that we are facing, and nobody is doing anything about it. And so it's like we are going full speed for the edge of a cliff. And right now I see nothing to stop this truck from going over the edge.
Right. So in the face of all that, it's real estate is a second thought. We have bigger problems than that. To get your wealth
out of this country and out of dollars and anything connected with the United States, because every asset in this is going to sink in value, and there's nothing you can do. You need to look for safety abroad because that's the only place you're going to find it. Anyway, thanks for the call.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, who is next? Because I had Eric as the last caller, but I still think I have some. Is Mac there? Is there a Mac?
Hello?
Who's this, please?
This is Ray in Florida.
Okay, hey, Ray. You're on the air.
Okay, I was calling about the 60 Minutes from the last Sunday. I don't know if you saw that. They were talking about this new wave of mortgages.
Yes, I saw that. They were talking about the Alt-A's and the option arms. The resets are coming. Yeah, I've been warning about that for years. In fact, when the subprimes first hit, I tried to explain that it was a mortgage problem, not a subprime problem. And one of the reasons that the subprime mortgages were going bad first is because they had short resets. Most subprime mortgages had 2-year resets. The teaser rates only lasted for 2 years. But the prime mortgages, or the Alt-A's or the option arms, most of them had 5-year teaser rates. So I knew that the resets wouldn't happen for another few years. And that wave is about to hit. And that's why the Fed is scared shitless. And that's why they're trying to artificially bring down long-term rates, because they're hoping mortgage rates will come down so that the people who are in these ticking time bombs can refinance out of these resets. But it's not going to work.
Okay. I thought that's why also it figures why the banks are not lending also because they're waiting for the second wave to hit also.
Well, the banks are not lending because the banks are broke. They've lost all their capital. And why should they lend more money to Americans who are already so loaded up with debt that they can't repay the money they've already borrowed? You'd have to be a moron to lend money to an American consumer. I mean, why? Somebody that's loaded up with student loans and credit card debt and a mortgage, you want to loan him money to go deeper into debt? Why? Loan somebody money to buy a new big screen TV, to buy new furniture in a house that they're mortgaged to the hilt on? It's insanity to assume that. And why would we want that? We don't want that anymore. We have to stop borrowing money. Americans have to shut down. What we need is a moratorium on consumption. We need every American to basically take a pledge and say, I will not buy anything for the next year. I'm not going to buy any clothes. I'm not going to buy any consumer electronics. I'm not going to buy any furniture. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm going to save my money. That's what we need to do. We are in debt up to our eyeballs. The last thing we need is more debt. The last thing we need is to buy more stuff that we can't afford. You know, it's funny. If you ever you look at, I've been watching on television these shows where these companies are hired to clean out foreclosed homes or homes that have been abandoned. Mm-hmm. And the amazing thing is the people who are abandoning their homes, they're not even taking their stuff. They're going in there and cleaning out computers, television sets, stereo equipment, furniture, things that the people who own these houses didn't even want. They bought so much shit on credit cards that they didn't even want any of it. They left the houses. They didn't take it with them. They didn't try to sell it on eBay. It's clutter. We got to stop doing that.
And how is that going forward? If the dollar is collapsing, if there's going to be a collapse before the second wave really hits, I guess, how is that going to affect foreign stocks then and currencies and gold?
Look, ultimately, I think the world economy is going to recover, and I think stocks right now around the world are being given away. I think there are fire sale prices. I think there are buying opportunities of a lifetime right now in the rest of the world, and I think we have to take advantage of it. I mean, we get a great twofer right now. We can get rid of our dollars, and we can buy foreign stocks cheap. And we could buy gold. We could buy commodities. You know, we got to do something because we don't want to go down with the ship.
But should we wait?
We have these opportunities. Anyway, I know I have to hop because I have a few people on hold, and I think I've only got 5 minutes left. Well, thanks for the call. Let me take, who is the next one? Mac.
Mac, yes. Hi, Peter. I have a quick question. Between Canadian dollar and Australian dollar, which one do you think has a better...
Well, right now I'd go with the Aussie dollar because the Aussie dollar has dropped dramatically. You know, at one point they were pretty close together. Now the Canadian dollar is, 80-something cents, and the Aussie dollar is still about 60 cents. So right now, if I had to pick between the two to concentrate more on, I like the Aussie dollar. Anyway,
okay. And would it also because Australia has better or more trade with China and Japan?
Well, that's another part of it. But I mean, but Canada has trade with China too. But yeah, Australia is very integrated into the Asian economies. But anyway, I thank you for the call. Let me go to David in Illinois.
Hi, Peter. I read both of your books, and a lot of what you say makes sense, especially the GDP numbers of U.S. economy being phony and all that. Mm-hmm. The only question I have is, how do we know that the other countries' numbers are not phony?
Well, they probably are to some degree, but obviously you can see the results of their productivity. You can see their exports. You can see the products that they're making and that they're exporting around the world. And so I think that our numbers are definitely far more phony than numbers coming out of other major economies. But look, politicians are politicians. They could be fudging them everywhere. But we are the country that's in serious trouble. We're the ones that are addicted to debt. We're the biggest debtor. We're the ones that are borrowing all this money. We're the ones that have a completely phony economy. So, a lot of people keep trying to find fault with the rest of the world. I know nobody is perfect, but we are in serious, serious trouble. And in order to get out of the United States, that means you have to get into another economy. So, even though the other economies aren't perfect, they're much better than the U.S., and that's what we've got to do. Anyway, thanks for the call. Let me see if I can grab the last call. We're running out of time. Pat in New York.
Yes. Hi, Peter.
Yes.
Hi. Yes. I'm with you. My husband and I are with you 100%. We listen to you faithfully. Had a question. Looks like the perfect storm. Are you familiar with peak oil?
With who? Yeah, well, look, I mean, I'm not totally familiar with peak oil. I do believe that oil prices are headed higher, even though oil today is still only around $40 a barrel. It's kind of nonsense that oil is this cheap. I don't think it's going to stay this cheap. I think the supply and demand imbalances favor much higher oil prices. I don't think that